Morning, everybody. Welcome to LockPod Season 11, Episode 5, brought to you by the Power in Indiana Lake County Studios. Season 11. Nika and IBEW.
Season 11, Episode 5.
Yeah. Welcome. Morning, Lance.
Don't forget Did you already say Midwest's?
Yeah.
Most dangerous?
I did.
Podcast.
I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. But you know what? Somebody that put together the note didn't put the normal introduction into it.
We figured you'd memorize.
I don't think you usually say Midwest. It never says Midwest's most dangerous podcast ever.
America's
by the way, ever.
Oh, it should. It's a good
Why?
moniker.
You always
It's a good
remember.
moniker.
We've been downgraded.
See, like
Midwest second most.
No, this whole thing that because Kevin did this note. And Kevin,
Which is why it's very well organized.
Like, no, it's why it's all fucked up. It's like,
oh no.
That's why. Okay, I just fixed it. See how I did that? You just had to put that little banner at the top. So you're like, morning, everybody. Welcome to LockPod, Season 11, Episode 5, brought to you live from Power in Indiana Lake County Studios.
Fair enough.
This is the Midwest Most Dangerous Podcast.
You did add that this year.
See?
It's a this season thing.
But then you did the note and you didn't
Fair,
add it,
fair.
which totally messed up the intro.
Fair enough, because I didn't cut and paste.
Yeah, if you would have done it,
true.
I would have come in the right way and we'd have been
Kevin,
cruising.
don't take responsibility.
Well,
this is his father's fault.
He changed the way the note set up this season so he wouldn't forget Power in Indiana Lake County
Exactly.
Studios.
It's
But
Dad's fault.
I would admit though that, or not even admit, I would note that it's never said Midwest's most dangerous podcast.
Look at your thing.
But you agree it never has.
It says it
You
now.
just forgot.
So from now on, we're going to put the banner on everyone, okay?
Why
Yes.
is there like the note now? There's like 4 lines, then
That's
like,
Tom.
and then
And
another 4 lines.
Right, that's Tom,
But
which
this
is
is-
this ridiculousness. But yes.
We all
But, like-
conform to what's convenient for Dad.
So when
No,
we
he
come
wants
in,
us to. We
we're
don't
going to
have to.
use this at the top of our note every time. So
But
that
why
when we
the
come in-
lines? Do we have to have 4 lines?
Yes, because it looks nice that way.
Because it reminds Tom.
It's like it looks nice. It's like a banner.
Actually,
I'm
are
sure
we-
everybody's really interested.
Are we the
in this.
Midwest most dangerous podcast
We
or
are
not?
We are officially
All right.
not. I just put it on our
All right, good.
note.
Then it's official.
Yes.
It's
There's no
official.
lines in this one. It's not updating or something.
So you guys were talking about REM sleep before we got
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Because
And
everybody's
I-
getting these rings now. I love them.
Yeah.
Or
I don't
the new-
have one.
John's got the new Apple Watch. It does it for him, right?
Yeah, and I have the ring too. But I was just commenting how I got 30 minutes of REM and 30 minutes.
Is that
of deep.
good or
Is
not?
That good or bad?
30 minutes REM, 30 minutes deep. That is
Yeah.
not good.
Linz, you agree?
I'm looking at mine. It says that I got 6 hours of sleep last night, but that is definitely not true.
See, what's up with this?
I always get like 8 in bed. I usually get like 7 of sleep.
How many deep?
Usually about an hour and a half deep, and then like an
Nice.
hour of REM.
Okay.
Does that
I
overlap?
go light. Like I fall asleep when I hit the pillow. Like
Me
I
too.
I
I'm
could sleep
same.
within 2 minutes.
I'm same.
Like it frustrates Marissa because I'll literally lay down and fall asleep.
Same
And
with
she's
Jana.
just sitting
Same
there
with Jana.
watching
Yep,
TV.
same.
Like, but yeah, no, I go into deep sleep usually around midnight, and then I'll wake up a couple times.
But when you say
unfortunately.
like an hour and a half of deep and an hour of REM, is that overlaid? Like is REM part
it
of
goes
deep?
starts in deep and then it flows into REM. I
Gotcha,
usually notice
okay.
my REM sleep is usually later in the sleep
so
cycle.
like a full sleep cycle is around 2 to 3 hours. It takes you a little time to get
Yeah.
into that deep sleep, and then REM,
Yep.
and then you come out of it
Yep.
just
When you
periodically throughout your sleep.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
you can get 2 to 3 REM cycles in. Full
Yeah,
REM cycles.
right. That's how mine goes. I watch it every day. I download my sleep.
It's nice to have a nurse on.
Yeah,
The
it is nice.
notorious
It's
LNP.
Lindsay is our
RN.
nursing like
Student.
consulate, correspondent or correspondent.
Correspondent. Yeah.
Medical expert.
Medical.
LockPod's
Oh,
medical expert.
Now that
cannot claim
4-Right
that
doesn't
until I
practice anymore.
graduate.
Yeah, 4-Right's not a real. Yeah,
Not for it's not a
I was with.
mistake.
I was.
I like when you say that.
Yeah, he's not a doctor anymore.
He's not a real doctor anymore.
Like I don't call him Dr. Mike. I just call him Mike.
Yeah.
That is
Hey,
true.
Mike. I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Call
I
him
can't get a
Dr. Mike.
prescription from
No,
nothing. What good is
nothing.
he? Yeah. I was hanging out with him last night for the first time in a while.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was just thinking about him.
back
last
to the
night.
living.
Yep.
How's he doing?
He's got a lot of shit going on.
All right. He's got to move.
He's always got
He's
a lot
moving.
He lives in a construction zone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Who
that
knew
sounds.
that
That's
retirement
about.
could
He's
be
like-
so busy.
He's like Kramer. He's like my
Yes,
Kramer.
I agree.
100%.
He's
Yeah.
perfect for a construction zone. By the way,
He
Of course
lives in a
construction zone.
construction zone.
Of course he does.
His house is warm. That's all you can say. It's a warm.
The workers like it warm.
But it's like there's no carpeting. But he's living in a construction zone.
His
so.
head is a construction zone.
yeah, that's true too.
Hey, speaking of like REM sleep and stuff,
Mhm.
did you guys hear about what's going on with the Apple Watch?
No.
Yeah. They
There's-
violated a
because
patent.
of-
Oh yeah, the patent. I did hear about that, but
Yeah.
I thought they held off on it. They
It's
were
for the-
waiting.
No, get this. Here's the latest. In order for them to keep selling it in America, they are disabling the blood oxygen sensor function.
Okay.
That is crazy.
So
guys.
your
Oh,
watch blood
I
oxygen
like that.
sensor doesn't
no,
work?
it's the newest
Okay.
Apple Watch.
Right.
Shit. I mean,
Right.
if I had the patent
So
for
yours-
that, I'd be pissed too.
So yours works.
Yes,
They got
correct.
paid, Kevin.
Mine
they got
works.
paid from Apple for that.
And then why
They're
are
going
they
to.
disabling?
They haven't gotten
That's
paid
what I'm
yet.
saying.
They haven't
That's
gotten
a
paid
fight.
yet. You're right.
If
Good
I was
call.
a-
They're
yeah,
gonna have to pay.
I'd be pissed.
Well,
I'd
they're
be
going
like,
to
they're
you got
gonna
a
get
claim
paid big
against
time.
Apple. I mean, at least they're not broke. Most of the time we get claims against somebody, some broke
Right.
dick person with no money. You got a claim against Apple. I'm feeling good about my life,
Sure.
right?
Yeah,
You
why
would
isn't
hope.
Apple paying this, man?
They
Instead,
They're
they're
gonna pay
disabling
because they have good lawyers, man.
Maybe they're saying don't pay him yet. Disable it.
Hey, we had a good show last week, guys.
Yeah.
I just want to say,
Which one?
Last week,
every once in a
Tuesday
while,
or Friday?
both of them, we did high quality shit last
good
week.
shows plural.
Like, everybody got exactly what they deserved. They got what they paid for.
Oh,
last
They
week.
did.
Yeah,
Which is
we gave
nothing.
them
Which
Free.
is $0.
we gave them $0 worth of entertainment.
I thought they were good.
Real good.
I mean, Scott Miller, I was shocked. I saw like over 3,000 views of that.
Yeah.
Just on Facebook.
Just on Facebook.
Facebook's one of our,
One of our
it's
many
a barometer
platforms.
of
It's
how we're
been
doing on
It's
streaming.
been on the decline for a bit, but
Yeah, because people shifted. But
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying is you could get an idea of how we're doing on streaming by looking at Facebook. If Facebook's a bigger than average show, I imagine streamers follow.
I'm
Yeah,
not
like
on Facebook
Twitter or
anymore, so-
X we were in double digits, which again is just kind of like, I mean, that's,
Right.
normal.
and YouTube we were doing real good. I think almost 100. So that's crazy.
Scott Miller's show was a local big deal, and not just local. I think across where and this is
think
a show that's
statewide.
bigger in Indiana because we have a national audience. But I do want you to know that was a heavy Indiana show because it's about Indiana problems. But it's really not just Indiana because public education across the country is under attack.
Yeah,
and
well,
this is just an example of it.
When you said local, I was thinking at least it was big around the state.
Yeah.
Because I heard from
For sure.
educators around the state that listened and thought it was
Really?
interesting. I thought it was
Did
really
you talk to your
informative.
teacher friend?
I did not get a text from her. I owe her a text.
Yes.
So
could you do that
I will.
for like show purposes?
Yeah, I'll reach out and see.
I'd
if-
like to come back on and
All right.
and see because
teacher perspective.
yeah, she's a anonymous Hammond teacher.
Uh-huh.
She's a she. That's
Yeah,
all we're gonna say.
absolutely.
That's
I
all
mean,
we're gonna say. She's a
It's
she.
me.
Lifelong
It's not
friend of
Lindsay.
mine. I've known her.
Oh, dude, you're giving it away.
All right, I won't give it away.
Don't give it away.
I won't give it
She's
away.
gonna get in trouble.
I won't.
And we're gonna talk about how she felt prior to, and then after hearing our show, hopefully she's like reformed.
Yeah, maybe she'll
Like,
want to come
out
in.
there.
Well, I'd like to get a teacher perspective of it too.
I would too.
So, all right.
So we that was a good show, and then we followed it up with Jed, and we had the longest show in Lockpod's history.
Yeah, Jed didn't want to
Are
leave.
you sure?
He was
'Cause
so
our
he was
first
having so much
episode
fun.
Was like
Lindsay, hour and a
3
half.
hours.
You weren't here for that one, were you? No, that was
I
Joe.
was in my
Hour and a half, all day.
Yeah.
I was in the ICU
Oh, yeah,
Wow,
it was so
fancy.
important.
being a fancy nurse.
Saving people, saving lives.
Yeah.
It was
Which-
like 7 minutes longer than Jed's first interview here, which I
Wow.
think was our longest.
Really?
Prior to that. Yeah.
It felt well. The thing we did because we knew it was
I
going to be a
didn't
long
cut it
interview.
off.
And not only that, we did a half and half show, which we usually don't do half and half shows. We did all of our ads at one time, and
So
we
just
just
flowed.
did the whole second half to D'Lo. So.
No, it's good. It was nice to have him in. I appreciate the fact that, as somebody who is like, I guess, the media mogul of Lake County for lack of, I don't think there's anybody else that matches WJOB.
because
It's nice
like
to
the
have him in.
Times has similar. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No,
Kevin.
you're not.
The Times has similar numbers, but D'Lo has been a consistent face for 20 years. whereas-
Yeah, and I meant kind of like streaming,
Right,
video, radio. Yeah,
But
obviously
Jim-
Times is bigger than
but
JOB. But
where we live, who in the media is bigger than D'Lo?
yeah, as a face, I don't think anybody.
Is there?
No, because
No, as a
Times
face-
there's not like a face
Right.
of the Times.
That's right.
Right.
Or the Post?
Yeah.
It's like people come and go, but it's always the same paper. But
Sure.
it's like people come and go. But WJOB, it's been Jim D'Lo since he opened the doors 20 years ago.
And that was actually kind of cool. Part of the show was talking about 20 years in his business, 20 years in your business.
I didn't realize my dad cost him $500,000. That sucked.
Yeah. Well,
That was just one more reason for him to hate me.
Hey, that's just called business, baby.
I know, but
504,
like, shit,
I
I'm
think,
rolling
was the
into
number, but
I'm rolling into City Hall, and he didn't mention another thing for him, a reason for him to hate me.
yeah.
Woodmar Country Club.
Yeah, that's right. You closed
So
down
like
the
I had
club.
all these X's against me when D'Lo and I walked in. There was like no way him and I should have liked each other, and for a long time we didn't. We made people happy in that regard, but eventually, like honestly, I think away from politics, Jim and I are the type of people that would be friends with each
No,
other.
I think that's right. And you guys
Yeah.
have socialized in the past.
Yeah,
you
and we
guys
get
have
along.
Gone to events socially, and
My perspective with D'Lo, he never wanted to get too close to me because he's like media and he's real official
Sure.
about that. I'm
Yeah,
media
that's true.
and I'm not supposed to be your friend. And
Right.
he was very like that.
set the boundaries.
Yeah, like he wouldn't even golf with me or anything, which is fine. And I was always like, he's doing this so he could be a dick to me on the radio. And that was the way it was for a long time. But then over time, when he realized I was also a deadhead, And we started getting closer in that regards, and we went to a show together, and it sort of blew his mind that I was just a normal person. It really did. I remember when we went to a Dead show, I was like,
That'll do it.
I was blowing his mind that day.
Excuse me?
As you could imagine.
Pardon me.
I'm glad you finished that sentence.
No, seriously.
Thank you, Linz.
Kevin
Wow.
and
I was blowing.
Lindsay.
Man,
Yeah,
see now that
came out wrong.
Now that's usually something that you would say to her. I
would
love
not
the
say
fact that
I would not
she.
say that to my daughter. That's disgusting.
Well, no, I'm not that exact words, but you would usually take her to task for something she said. I like the fact that she kind of went after you.
Yeah, that was nice.
That's one extra.
I don't like it a bit.
That's like one extra bonus of the show when Lindsay and Tom get into it.
Yeah, that's why I like Fridays better.
Wow.
Oh my God!
That's why I like Fridays better too.
Lindsay's
gotta
part
be
owner of
here.
this show. I got to be
right.
nice to her.
You better be nice to her.
That's right. I'm a partial owner.
That's right. I got news.
News
like-
is breaking.
yeah, I love
is
it
this
when-
breaking news?
No,
Oh,
it's
do
not
the
breaking.
sign.
All right,
It was
not
in the
breaking.
newspaper.
Don't do it, John.
Like
Not
breaking is
yet.
when we break it. This
All
is
right.
like in the newspaper.
Okay.
But it's interesting because I think one of the topics we're starting to develop is St. John, Indiana is a funny place. Okay? Like government-wise,
Yeah.
I love St.
Banjo,
John.
John, please. Banjo.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Let's go.
You can do the banjo.
St. John, Indiana.
It's
This
a
is a
funny
good sound
place.
for it.
Oh,
Banjo.
St. John, Indiana is a funny place.
It's a funny place, especially when you're talking about government, you know? I love the banjos.
Lindsay Cam.
All right. So just to continue St. John, Indiana government's good government initiative, they took a gentleman that used to be the leader of the Libertarian Party and gave him a spot on their economic development committee. This he is like anti-capitalism. He wants the government
He's
to have
anti-government.
he wants the government to have no role in anything, basically.
Well,
That's how
libertarian,
pure he is,
right?
Right? He's pure, though. Like, he's opposed to the train. It's bringing all this economic activity to Hammond and Munster. He's opposed to everything. But, like, and I don't have a problem with that. God bless. Everybody
Sure.
has the right to feel the way they do. Chuck is a smart guy. okay?
Libertarians feel that government should be limited. So it's kind of
And he's true
interesting
blue,
that
right,
now
Kev?
he's like part of government.
Well,
He
he's
is
like
the
true blue.
government.
Like, now, Chuck Pullen is who we're talking about, okay?
Yeah.
He was the chairman of the Libertarian Party in Lake County. I don't believe I was chairman of Democrats at the time.
I think you
I
might
did.
have been.
Okay. Well, this is when Councilman Barry Tyler in Hammond won, in Hammond's 3rd district. And it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to say it for purposes of this story. Barry's African-American gentleman. And Councilwoman Katrina Alexander is an African-American woman that beat Councilman Markovich, a white guy in my city. Okay.
Yep.
And they were coming onto the council 4 years ago when Chuck Pullen made a statement that cost him his chairmanship.
Oh yeah, I remember
Remember this?
Yeah.
This was
he said,
dramatic.
let's see
Ooh,
how
it was
Hammond does
intense.
now that the gangbangers are taking
Oh
over.
yeah, that was ridiculous.
Oh, nice
So,
statement.
I'm sitting in Hammond, and I got 2 new councilmen coming on. They're both great, smart. One's a teacher. The other one works with teachers. And they're both great, college-educated, smart people coming on to the Hammond Council. I was relieved because one of the people that would get, actually, quite frankly, both of them were sort of a pain, but one of them was a real pain and the other one. So like 2 new council people coming on, a fresh start, and then the Libertarian Party chairman, the chairman of the county party, calls both these council people gangbangers.
He said, "Oh, they were throwing gang signs." And I
He
was
said
like,
that about Barry.
Yeah,
Why?
who was
Who's
a
in a frat?
he was a proud Kappa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever frat he's
Yeah,
in.
he's in Kappa,
and they all
right?
have not gang signs. They all have the symbols that they
Yeah.
do when they take pictures because
Yes.
they're in a fraternity.
Yes,
They're very
it's
proud of it.
If
And
you're
Barry is very proud of it. Barry still goes to the things, wears the colors. He does
Yeah.
all that all the time.
Yes.
He goes. In fact, I believe him and Eddie Melton are in the same
They
chapter.
are.
And they're like brothers. Like Barry was
Mike
at,
Tolbert, like these.
Yes,
so
Mike
it's like
Tolbert
if you
also.
know if you've gone to a university where there are African American fraternities, you know this stuff. You
Yeah.
know that this happens. You
But
know
if
that
you're
this is part of the deal.
But if you're Chuck Pullen,
You think that they're throwing
he's
gang
like
signs and they're
he
gangbangers.
thinks these are gang signs,
There
and
you
this is
go.
the leader of the Libertarian Party in Lake County, right?
Yeah, there you
so
go.
he is fired on the spot, rightfully so, and he was taken off the air at WJOB. He lost all of his credentials, right?
Wow.
Well, it's good to see only 4 years later, racists can be allowed right back onto government boards. Welcome back, Chuck Pullen. You're on the St. John, Indiana Economic Development Committee. Strike the banjos.
Big government.
Welcome to our band, Chuck. You're going to fit right in.
I mean, this.
Wow.
So a couple other things that I remember Chuck doing is one. I think during I don't know if it was your congressional race or another race, he was on JOB and had a button-down shirt on and ripped it off and showing off his really nice physique. and it said "fuck McDermott,"
and he was flipping off the
and he was
screen.
flipping off the screen. Yes, so that
and
was
that got put in the newspaper.
It did. Anything that
This
of course
guy
it did. And then he took on. Do you remember when? So then you had an issue with a gentleman in your city who had a F Biden flag.
Yeah.
And it was across from a park.
Said "fuck Biden."
Where,
it was across
there
the
are
street from a
kids,
bar.
right? And he was, and you kind of were trying to, get with that gentleman to see if
It
he
was
would
one of the
take it
first
down.
"fuck Biden" flag situations in the
In
country.
the country, yes.
We were like,
Yes.
and we were like getting ready to go to court. And this guy, I thought for sure would never take the flag down. And I'm like, this is going to be a national case in Hammond. He ended up folding. He put the flag in the garage. I was happy.
It was
with
a compromise.
That.
You
it was
went
a compromise.
You personally
He
went
had
to his
knocked on
house.
other flags out there anyway that
Right.
said similar things, just not as
Right.
explicitly.
They had like guns on them and stuff, and take my gun out of my cold dead hands, all this bullshit. But he put the "fuck Biden" flag into the garage. I declared victory. We didn't
And
go
it was
to
a
court.
nice compromise, right? Everybody got to declare. He got to keep his flag. You got to keep it out of the eyesight of like the kids on the
Right.
park.
'Cause he's,
but
like, right across the street.
Chuck Pullen. This is when we had the Trump parade by your house.
The biggest
Chuck-
Lockpod episode in history.
And
was awesome.
It was really cool.
This was Chuck Pull. We should thank him for
Chuck
this.
Pullen held a rally next
Yeah.
to the guy's house to support, say the government was overreaching and to support this gentleman flying the flag. So,
And then they drove to our house and we had a Lockpod episode.
yes.
It's like over 50,000
And
views
I think
at the
everyone
time.
was confused because we were being really nice and
Yeah.
waving to them, and they were like, "Woo!" And
That
we were
was
like,
one of my
"Woo!" And they
favorites.
I don't
were
think it hit
leaving
them.
confused.
I don't think it hit the people that were protesting
That was
that
your
they were the
house.
joke until they were like driving home. They're like, mother.
We just
Like-
drove 6 hours.
Like, what the hell? And we just
and
made
nobody
Lockpod,
hassled us.
right? They get there, they give us the biggest episode in Lockpod's history, and then they're driving home going, son of a bitch, this wasn't worth it.
I got 6 hours ahead of me.
Who was the other guy in that parade? What
That
was his
I was
name?
Yeah,
just
Gabe
trying.
Whitley.
Gabe,
Yeah.
you are
Yeah.
so
Come
Come
good.
on, who can't remember
That's why
Gabe
you're the
Whitley?
locomotive, man.
Gabe Whitley is
Gabe
he still
Real
makes
Whitley.
news. I get Gabe Whitley updates constantly.
He is something.
I love the poorly educated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me that again, John.
I still, yeah,
I love the poorly educated.
I still think we should have him on the show.
I would love to have Gabe Whitley.
He would be awesome.
He would.
Steve,
get on that, please.
Gabe Whitley, I know you're listening. We want you on the show.
Yes.
I will be nice. I promise you. Like I
Oh,
have
we want to review the whole Trump parade.
I
with
have
him.
like
a blow by blow.
I don't have an ill bone in my body towards Gabe Whitley. I follow Gabe Whitley now because
Yeah.
he's always in trouble.
It is
He's
awesome.
pissing people off left and right.
It is awesome.
I love that Gabe Whitley. He got sued
Yeah,
by that
the
commentator.
Republican. Was it the Republican Party?
No,
or no, who?
dude, it was by that commentator that was part of our show for a while
that's
too.
right.
That
Yeah.
Indianapolis radio personality.
Yes,
He sued Gabe Whitley.
Oh,
like
that's
Lockpod
right.
is all over this stuff.
This
so
is
like
Gabe Whitley Central.
we should get
We
both
need
of those
Gabe.
guys on. We should have a debate with Gabe Whitley and that.
Scary.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I want him in the studio. Maybe just remotely. We'll
Plus
get him on
that-
Skype. I don't
plus
have to
that-
drive 6
that
hours.
AM radio guy in Indy, he's going to be like all territorial.
Very.
Yeah, because radio guys don't like us. I've
I
learned
don't.
They don't like
D-Lo's
I
coming
think
around.
Jed likes us.
Jed's coming around. He listens to our show.
What
but
other radio guys? do
that
we
guy
have?
downstate. doesn't
Matt,
like
my
it.
brother Matt, he likes us.
True
He's a
story.
radio
my
guy.
Bad. My bad. You're
All
right.
right.
All right.
Yeah, but he's your family. He has to.
Yeah,
like
he
you.
has to.
It's
like me with Aaron.
Like,
It's like me with Aaron. You're just stuck with him, you know? Love Aaron.
He probably says
By the
the
way,
same
Aaron
thing about you.
sponsors one freaking season and bails.
True.
Good for
I
him.
mean, that's
That's
is
called
that really?
boundaries.
Fuck
Is
that business.
really that?
No, it doesn't surprise me.
Is that really shocking?
Yeah.
Aaron thought like he was going to give us like $250 and like we'd still be talking about him 11 seasons later.
You are. He won.
We're not talking about his business though. Yeah. All right. Hey, I'm going to talk about a deal with something called welcoming city ordinances. Okay. This was a big deal a few years ago, and now it's a really big deal. Right? Because let me ask you a question, John. I know you noticed this. All the stuff going on with the migrants being bused and flown to Chicago, to New York, to California, to Democratic cities. Mm-hmm. Chicago is literally a bike ride from my house, and not one migrant is getting dropped off in Indiana. I know we've all noticed this.
We have.
There's no migrants getting dropped off in Indianapolis. There's no migrants getting dropped off at the Gary Airport. They're all going to Chicago, New York, and cities like that. Okay? Why is that, Kevin?
It seems to me that Governor Abbott is targeting blue states and
So
blue cities.
if you have a Democratic governor,
Sanctuary cities.
Okay,
Not just
so
blue states.
right. So we start with
Yeah, he's not taking them to Springfield.
yeah, because there's no sanctuary cities really in red states. Is that a true statement?
Well,
we-
we're about to
aren't we?
talk about 2 of them.
It's not. Yeah, good question. So is a welcoming city? Because about 5 or 6 years ago, Kevin, it was when Trump was elected.
Yeah.
So I was pressured as Mayor Hammond. There was a movement going on across Indiana that we couldn't do sanctuary cities because they were illegal in Indiana. So instead, they had this idea called a welcoming city. And they wanted us to pass an ordinance called a welcoming city ordinance that basically said, while Trump is president, from here forward, our police department will not cooperate with ICE, basically, right?
Right.
And I didn't feel good about this. And I was being pressured like something fierce by Democrats across the state. Like, I was being called a shitty Democrat, basically. Like, what do you mean? I had tons of pressure being placed on me. How do you know that I didn't?
I didn't say you didn't have pressure.
I
just
saw
don't.
that look. You go,
When you said that people were calling you a shitty Democrat, I don't agree with that. I don't think
I
that
do
happened.
agree with that. I know
you
the
said
person
it.
in my mind.
Okay.
There's a certain steel worker. How about that? Very active at the
Fair
time.
enough.
That was like pressuring me because this is about the same time
Yeah,
I'm ramping up
I
my
agree.
campaign
I remember that.
for Congress the first time and lost. One of the reasons I lost, I didn't get progressives on board my campaign. Progressives were big with welcoming city ordinances.
Season 1, episode 1 and 2.
Right. But like welcoming city ordinances were being pushed.
They were.
In
And you were
2016,
I agree with
2017,
you. You were getting a lot
2018.
of pressure to
Right.
get to pass it.
Dude,
I
what did
remember
they
that.
say, Kevin?
So,
I just
No, I think you're right. I think what you're saying, I totally agree with you that there was a lot of pressure on Democratic mayors around the state to pass these. And you pushed back hard. And you said,
Basically said
well,
no.
I remember it was either on JOB or maybe I was probably on JOB at the time. What you were saying was, look, I don't want to risk. I mean, even though I may believe in what they're asking me to do as a mayor of a very heavily Hispanic city, I don't want to risk federal funding. I don't want to risk this backfiring on us and we end up in a worse position just because we passed a resolution or an ordinance.
And
That's
I
what remember you
I was
saying.
talking more about the Republican General Assembly that's always looking to take our money. And at that time, we were
And
still,
Trump. You're like, what about
and
federal
Trump.
money? You said my police department gets a lot of money every year. I get CDBG money every year. I get money from the federal government. What if Trump issues an executive order that says no more federal money goes to sanctuary? What if he did that?
Right.
Then we're in the courts
I was
for
worried
3
about
years.
the General Assembly too.
Yep.
So
That
in other
they could-
words, you were an oracle based on this article.
Well,
Hey,
I
don't
knew
inflate his ego.
I love
He's
it.
always an
Thank
oracle,
you.
John. We know that
that was the
about Tom.
locomotive before we even knew it.
yeah.
But so at the time, I was like, no way. I'm not going to piss off the Republican president. I'm not going to piss off the Republican General Assembly. We could do this without passing the ordinance. We could be.
I remember you
We could
saying
be
that
nice
exact
to people.
thing.
We could be
Yep.
receptive to people,
Yep.
but we don't have to like make a declaration of it.
And by the way, in the past, you had passed a everybody's welcome in Hammond LGBTQ
Yes.
ordinance
True story.
or a resolution in the past.
True story.
Way before this was even an
Dude,
issue.
When Pence was governor, I did
Yep.
that.
Yep.
So anyway, we passed, and I paid the penalty for it. I think I did. I think it was part of the coalition built up against me when I ran for Congress was because of this issue.
That you did not pass.
Yeah, I made enemies in the Democratic Party, and then they saw a guy like me that was moderate, not willing to take a chance on issues like this, and they're like, I don't want to back him for Congress because I want a guy that's going to listen to us and do what we want him to do, and McDermott's hard-headed. So a lot of people passed up on me, and now
Fast forward.
Gary and East Chicago were the only 2 cities in the entire state of Indiana that passed these welcoming city ordinances.
Is that true? Is just Gary and EC? I
I'm
don't
pretty
remember.
sure.
Not Indy?
I'm pretty sure. it was
Okay.
just
All
Gary
right.
and
I don't know.
EC.
I don't know.
Why
I don't know
wouldn't
about
Indy?
small
Why
one.
wouldn't Indy be in this article if they?
Not sure.
Because I don't think the mayor of Indianapolis bit. At that time, the mayor of Indianapolis was Republican also, Kevin.
Good point.
Yeah. Right. So Gary and East Chicago, and they wanted Hammond in there, and we didn't do it. Now Gary and East Chicago are being sued, or about to be sued by the Attorney General for the state of Indiana.
Rokita.
I really, this is
Strikes
such
again.
political grandstanding, though. This bill
Yes,
in the year
it is.
that Rokita's running.
It is
and
political
immigration's a
grandstanding.
big.
It is political
yeah,
grandstanding, but they didn't have to do what they did. And I'm not blaming the current mayor of Gary, and I don't even believe Copeland was the current mayor of East Chicago at the time. But at the time, I know for a fact, and I know who the mayor of Gary is. There's no reason to say who it was. This is decisions made by people at the time that doesn't involve the current administrations. But
City
now,
councils that aren't around anymore.
right? So Gary and East Chicago now have to fend off a lawsuit that's going to be filed by Todd Rokita.
Who's going to get up on the steps of the state house and
Uh-huh.
say, "Look what I'm doing! I'm ripping down these
Uh-huh.
sanctuary city designations in Indiana. Look how great I am."
And by the way, dude, like I lose sleep over thinking about if Governor Abbott sent 1,000 migrants to Hammond, what the hell we would do. I
Yeah.
lose sleep over that. Like, because I don't know how we would take care of them. We could barely take care of what we have right now when it comes to the homeless population. Can you imagine having 1,000 people dropped off in Hammond?
No.
We would be...
Look at El Paso,
we would have
man.
no place.
I see these videos of these border cities, and they're just it's crazy.
The U.S. Congress is a complete and utter freaking failure when it comes to
immigration,
taking care of this issue.
Yep.
It's a fail.
100%.
The president, the Congress, the congressmen, the senators.
It goes all the way back to Obama's administration.
Agreed, dude. They don't want to fix it.
Nobody wants to address it because, and I think it's a great example of how broken we are right now as a country because everyone's in their corners. Nobody wants to, everybody sees this as red meat.
Yeah, for campaigning.
Yeah, for campaigning. So they're like, well, shit, leave it
broken
as a disaster. Let's get through the president.
The Republicans are like, we don't want to fix it because then we'll beat Biden with it.
And I got a congressional race this year to get reelected, and I'm going to use it as red meat. I'm going to use it as a president. I mean, so it's a never-ending cycle because of political red meat, and that's bad for the country.
Well, so is campaign finance. I mean, there's a lot of things you
sure,
can say
but
that
this
about.
one is huge.
Oh, I know,
this
man.
year.
This one's huge. I mean, and you have to give Governor Abbott credit for changing the narrative in the United States of America
and keeping it as an issue. I
Dude,
mean,
he is single-handedly
yes.
changing immigration in the United States of America. Like, whether you think what he's doing is humane or not, he literally is changing the way we do business in America. Because you got Democrats like myself saying, fix it, Biden.
Look at this.
You're the goddamn president. Fix it,
look
Congress.
At the mayor of Chicago, mayor of New York.
That's right. They're criticizing Democratic presidents. They're criticizing Democratic congressmen and senators.
And what I guess my hope would be is that because of what Governor Abbott's doing and forcing everybody to be aware of what's going on down in his state, that it makes somehow wakes Congress up so they do something.
They have no choice.
It has to happen. And I mean, there's enough blame to go around. I mean, you go through Obama, Trump, and Biden. And the other thing I'd say is, though, I don't know if you saw this, the Supreme Court just handed the Biden administration a victory regarding the barbed wire across the Rio Grande.
Why
is that a victory?
I think their position was we shouldn't have barbed wire across the river. So
okay, is it?
I don't think it's a victory. I think we got to enforce our ordinance or our border.
Okay, wait. So is it they ruled against razor wire?
No, I think they ruled against. I think
the state can't do their own policing.
The state can't do their own border policing. I think is the idea here.
Why would the Biden administration sue a state?
Because they want to have the power and then do nothing.
Or they want to have
they're going to lose the election, guys. You guys are it's over.
I don't think Texas was coming blue. But
No. I'm talking about the presidential election.
I agree. I think this is
huge.
I think it's the number one issue in the campaign.
Republicans have made it into the number one issue.
Congratulations.
But why would Biden fight? Why would he take this to the Supreme Court? It just blows my mind. It's like you guys want to lose the election.
Don't say John.
Don't
say
sorry, Democrats.
I don't think. Well, wait, that's me. That's us guys.
Well, I'm a Democrat.
How should I say
but
it
I
then?
tell you what, I think our party's blowing it on immigration.
I do too. They're allowing it to be an issue. John, I guess from the lawyer side of me says that the federal government wants to make sure that they are the enforcer of
Kevin,
the borders,
but they're not doing it.
No. I'm not saying as a practical matter. I'm saying the legal issue.
Agree.
In that suit. Yeah.
But like what Abbott's saying is, if you guys are going to fail to act, I'll do it myself. And making a border wall is what he did in the Rio Grande, is stopping people from coming in. Because if I saw a bunch of razor wire in the middle of the Rio Grande, I would not want to jump in and swim across.
You go another way.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a lot that John's saying is dead right now. I don't say that very often.
No, you don't. That's getting clipped.
Record that.
That's going to be a soundbite.
All right. We got one more. Highway sign jokes. Could you play that TikTok, John?
Yeah.
This is sad.
Yes, it is.
I am very upset with the Biden Department of Transportation over this.
Yeah, this is another thing.
So, Buttigieg?
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
Mayor Pete, come on, man.
Thanks, Pete.
Here we go.
This is crazy.
Electronic highway sign humor is coming to an end. This is part of some changes now being implemented by the Federal Highway Administration. New rules ban messages intended to be funny or those that use pop culture references. Officials say those messages can be confusing or even distracting for drivers. This ban takes effect in 2026. The agency says signs should only be used for important information like crash warnings, weather conditions, traffic delays, and safe driving reminders.
Yeah, so if you didn't see the video and you're just listening, one of the things that was up there, which is like kind of an example of a funny sign, and we all see them when we're driving, it was like, drive now, catch Pokemon later.
Yeah.
I mean, to me,
or like Santa wants you to make it home today.
Exactly.
Right. You can't have a personality.
No, exactly. And so like the way I look at it is those things actually catch my attention and kind of remind you what not to do. Whereas if it's the same every time,
right?
If it's just the same, like don't text and drive,
right?
That just becomes like the whatever the landscape, and you don't pay attention to it. I think the cute, funny things that people come up with on those, especially in Illinois, they have great ones. I that's crazy. John?
Sad.
Linz?
Yeah, who sent us? Someone tipped us off on this.
Marissa.
Yeah, Marissa did.
It was Marissa. Yeah, thank you, by the way. Like, if you guys ever want us to talk about something, just shoot us a text or email or something, and it might make the show. This was one of those examples.
Yeah.
I started thinking, though, like, after I was like, this is insane. I started thinking, like, imagine you're an old woman, right? Or an old man. Sure. You're driving down the highway. You're just struggling to just get from point A to point B, and you see something about like Pokemon. You're trying to read it. What does this mean? And then you get into an accident.
I guess
maybe.
Sure.
I mean,
Good
if
job.
you're already struggling that
maybe,
much
but
to talk, or drive, then
maybe stay off the road.
Yeah. Don't
Hey, I'm
drive.
gonna unplug something and plug it back in. Real
Thank
quick.
you.
It's a little.
Our
staticky.
headphones are going weird.
I know.
Jack, can you hear that?
I didn't know if you guys were getting that. I'm definitely getting it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought it was my connection.
I thought it was my connection too.
I'm in mono right now, John.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It's fine on the stream, but
okay, good.
we might
Dude,
be mono the rest
I
of the
think.
show.
Can you guys hear me? Because
Yes.
I got cut off, John, when you did that. It must be my headphones.
No, my headphones are cut off too.
Try those. Switch to those, maybe.
Okay.
Tom.
Well, let's just keep the show going, guys.
Keep the show going. We're going to go to ads.
Okay.
All right. So
why don't you go ahead and start the ads,
I'll
Kevin?
start the ads while you switch your headphones. And I'm in mono, John. Just
I
FYI.
just want you guys to know that
too.
I know there are ways of hacking those signs if you do want to update your logo
Come on.
and put your own pop culture references in protest.
I didn't know you were part of like the underground.
I'm not. It's actually shockingly easy. Most construction companies don't lock theirs, and you could just go up there and type a message.
Okay, I think we're talking about the overheads, though.
Yeah, I'm sure that if you just climb up there, you can figure it out.
All right. Take Lindsay's challenge.
Yeah.
See if you can
Climb onto
overtake
your
a highway
overpass
sign.
sign.
There, Power in Indiana, Lake County. IBEW Local 697 and NECA proudly bring you Powering Indiana, Lake County. With over a century of experience, they've been safely wiring the region. From powering corporations along the lakefront to lighting up homes across Lake County, Powering Indiana, Lake County is your trusted source for electrical professionals. Join them as they continue to light the way for Northwest Indiana. Visit Powering Indiana, Lake County at poweringindiana.org. And, of course, thank you for sponsoring the Powering Indiana, Lake County studios.
I think our inline mixer took a crap.
Okay.
So
He's having some trouble.
People still hear us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
I don't need
Just
headphones.
keep going.
Everyone thinks I'm funny, so.
Okay. I don't need headphones anyway.
no, you don't need headphones.
Okay, let's go. Misprint Printing. Elevate your brand with Misprint, the premier printing and sign solution in Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. With a 30-year legacy of excellence, their experienced team, led by Rick Baltensberger, combines innovation and technology to deliver top-quality signs and printing, always on time and within budget. Visit them at misprintusa.com to bring your vision to life today. Misprint, your partner for creating impactful visual solutions.
Calumet Brewing. It's time to experience Michelob Ultra with only 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and 4.2% alcohol by volume. The perfect way to start 2024 and keep those resolutions in check. It doesn't matter if you're kicking back after a workout, hitting a pickup game at the park, or heading out to a day out on the slopes. Be sure to enjoy a superior light beer that's only worth it if you enjoy it. Michelob Ultra is brewed to be a complement to your healthy lifestyle. Head over to the Cal Brew or Michelob Ultra websites and social media pages for details on this great family of beers. Enjoy the Ultra lifestyle with beers and cheers responsibly.
Prestomer Insurance Company. For decades, the Ron J. Prestomer Insurance Agency has been your trusted neighbor right on the best end of Indianapolis Boulevard, serving all your insurance needs. Their wide range of insurance products and services, including auto, home, business, and life insurance, have helped over 1,000 individuals and businesses throughout Chicagoland and the Midwest. Call Ron or Ronnie today at 219-844-0103. They're here to protect what matters most to you.
Tortillas Nuevo Leon sets the gold standard. I was going to tell everybody we're going to come back and talk about the haunted house. So if you know what we're going to talk about, we're teeing up our next subject. It should be
If you like eminent domain, listen up.
This is interesting economic development process we're going through. And one of the things that we have on LockPod that other podcasts don't is we actually run city government. So we will be back in a few minutes to talk about a situation that's interesting. I think you'll enjoy it regardless if you know what we're talking about or not. So see you in a second with that. But let's go with Tortillas Nuevo Leon, who set the gold standard in Mexican cuisine across the Midwest. Look for their iconic red and white label at your local grocery store. Indulge in the finest Mexican products crafted with local expertise and savor the taste of authenticity. Discover the flavors of Tortillas Nuevo Leon today.
Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón. Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia, de todo corazón.
Were you throwing up gang signs, Linz?
No.
Oh, just checking.
Yeah.
We need to
Chuck
finish.
Pullen thinks you were.
Good.
Yeah,
I hope it
gangbanger.
scares him.
It's only if African Americans do that
I
that
hope
it
it makes
scares
him
him.
nervous.
If it's a white person, he doesn't get scared. But if it's African
not
American,
gang signs then.
Right? Yeah. Then it's a
yeah,
fraternity
because
signal.
apparently white people can't be in gangs.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think it's like living out in St. John?
Boring.
That's
I think
funny.
like
I mean, honestly,
That-
like
you
you
both
asked
said
us,
that at the same
and we
time.
both said the same thing.
Yeah.
Same word at the same exact time. That's interesting.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
a problem. That's an image problem St. John has. But when you ask me to describe St. John, I think of nice neighborhood homes.
very
All the
nice
houses
homes.
look the same.
But it's a great city with great housing stock.
Wealthy community.
I think of boring. I think of jacked up government.
And
Like
I think of just
government
like
that's like dysfunctional.
farm fields for most of my life that are now neighborhoods.
Right. Nice neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of and a lot of Illinois transplants.
Yeah.
That's what
wealth,
else I think
a lot of
about
wealth
it.
moving to St. John.
Yeah.
But their government is totally jacked up.
And a lot of like I think grew so fast that infrastructure hasn't kept up.
Yeah.
So like you have a lot of like one lane country roads with a lot of cars
Yeah.
on them.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
that's the other thing I think. But a nice place. I mean, I've
You know, and a lot of their Christmas lights are nice. When I
Yes,
drive
they
through
do.
it,
They
the
have nice
lights
Christmas.
are fantastic.
These are- and if I was the police chief, I'd probably be trying to get another job as well to get out of that government.
Nah.
So I give him credit for trying to get the hell
run
out
for
of there.
sheriff.
He's like, please elect me sheriff. My bosses are freaking jagoffs. That's what he's saying.
Dear.
All right. Hey, yeah.
Tell me
I had
about this
I had
haunted
one more
house,
thing I was
homie.
going to say.
What
Too.
were you going to say?
I don't know. I'm trying to remember if it was like news, like the whole shooting thing.
Uh-huh.
That was like in the news, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. St.
okay.
John. Yeah. They tried to,
So I was
one
like,
of their cops tried to, as a reminder, an off-duty Hammond police officer who was driving to work got shot at by a police officer in St. John.
crazy. It's just so nuts.
Yeah. He like tried to,
And got charged.
he got charged and
By
got
the-
fired, rightfully so, by Chief Flores. He fired the guy, but it's like, I mean, honestly, how often do you have to draw your gun in St. John
I wouldn't think very
in the
often.
line of duty?
Yeah.
And why he drew a
It's
gun on a
pretty
car
safe,
driving
pretty
by?
safe area.
Yeah, you should never have to draw your gun one time in your whole career, and this guy's firing at a car driving by him at nighttime.
That
So
happened.
strictly statistically speaking, is it more likely you get shot at by a cop in Hammond or St. John?
Oh, St. John for sure.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, no
right
shit,
now,
dude.
right now it's St. John.
Man, I said something during a meeting yesterday.
I was there.
Everybody
I brought
was
it
like,
up.
"You're
I was
so
like, what are you
stupid.
doing?"
Stop
I was like,
talking.
"Stop."
Because in city government, we have this thing where we don't talk about streaks, good
Sure.
streaks.
Yes.
Because if you're like, man, it's been a long time since this horrible thing has happened.
Oh, yeah.
It happens the next day, always,
Right.
right?
Oh.
So I'm in City Hall yesterday bragging about something, and everybody's like, shut
I
the
said,
hell
Mayor,
up.
don't jinx us, Mayor. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, it was a dumb. So, hey, okay, we have a situation involving eminent domain.
Yeah, what's going on with this?
It's okay. Kevin, what is eminent domain?
Eminent domain is the power of the government to take your property, and if they do, you have to justly compensate them for it. It's in the United States Constitution and in, I believe, every state constitution.
Chuck Pullen would love to be here right now.
Oh,
Chuck Pullen
yeah.
would not
Domain.
approve of this. He's like, no.
Government
And
off the rails.
He's pro haunted house.
And fireworks stand.
I
People-
also am pro haunted house.
I know you
just
are,
a heads
Lindsay.
up.
What are you pro
Right.
fireworks?
Here we go.
In
Wow.
the
Oh,
right
oh.
hands,
All right.
I am confident that my father can handle fireworks safely, but there are some people that I would question
Yeah.
driving a car, let alone having fireworks.
Good
Yeah.
point.
So anyway, we have a situation with a piece of property that's worth about $600,000 and is off the highway with a daily traffic counts in front of it at about.
Hundreds of thousands of cars.
I've been saying 250,000 cars a day. I think that's probably in the ballpark.
I don't know what the I'm sure you're
because
right.
on both sides of the highay you could see it
good
easily.
Point. I mean, it's okay. So
if you're
you don't
heading
know where we're
west
at,
or east,
so picture the border of Indiana and Illinois, western of the northwest corner of the state of Indiana, and there's a highway that runs through it called 8094, which is where I-80, which pretty much everybody who's listening to this podcast in the country knows where I-80 is, and then I-94, which goes from like Minneapolis down to Miami.
It's right underneath Lake
that,
Michigan.
Right? Yeah.
So all the highways get merged onto 8094, which is what we call it, and it goes right through Hammond.
One of the biggest east-west highways, one of the biggest north-south highways in the country.
One of the busiest stretches of highway with the most traffic and the most semis and like just an amazing amount of commerce that passes on that highway right through the city of Hammond.
That's right.
I live right off of it. Lindsay grew up most of her life living right off that highway.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's always in the background where I live. I just don't realize I
can
hear
it yeah.
every day.
I
like
didn't
you
realize
just don't
I
realize.
could hear it until I moved away,
Right.
and I wasn't.
And you're
hearing
like,
anymore.
damn, it's quiet here,
And
right?
so when you
Yeah.
get the first exit, it's actually exit 0, believe it or not.
Yeah.
In Indiana, heading eastbound or the last exit in Indiana, heading westbound, is Calumet Avenue.
And right off Calumet Avenue in the city of Hammond is a $600,000 haunted house / fireworks stand. It used to be a business, a mail order business.
Yeah, so it was, I think, early 20th century. It was a botanical gardens. And I remember even in the 70s when I was a kid, my mom would take me there to get like seeds for her garden or whatever. And it was a very famous catalog order business in the country in like the 20s. And
Yeah,
so
the
famous
owner-
that the family had to open their own bank because they had nowhere to put their cash.
Which bank?
Calumet National Bank.
So I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Whoa.
But that family was the first millionaire in Lake County, first millionaire family in Lake County. They lived in Hammond. Mm-hmm. But didn't they? Myers?
Yeah, then they built Myers Castle
Yeah.
and Dyer eventually.
Well,
yeah.
then built Myers. The Myers had a home in Hammond
Yeah.
also, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
they became millionaires, and this botanical gardens, which we call the haunted house, was employed
Booming.
people. It was booming. It was right off the highway. Well, it fell into disrepair in the 70s, 80s.
Closed. Yep.
And then it turned into a haunted house.
Mm-hmm.
And
for the last 34 years.
So for Lindsay's childhood, she didn't know what the botanical gardens was. She knew it as the haunted house.
Reaper's Realm.
Right. And then when it wasn't a haunted house, it was a fireworks stand.
And when it wasn't either of those, it was vacant.
It wasn't
Right.
it briefly
Nothing.
like a Christmassy thing.
Yeah,
during the
but that never
holidays?
really took off, though.
Yeah, because it was very obviously a haunted house.
A haunted house with Christmas trees.
It was like
right?
a really dingy Christmassy
right.
house.
It's like goblins are selling you Christmas trees. It didn't work very well. So city-wise, this piece of property is sitting on 15 acres, which you don't find 15 acres in the city of Hammond. We're landlocked. So we got 15 acres right off of 8094, 250,000 cars a day. It's only worth $600,000. And I have a development down the street that is almost identical to this development where I paid $14 million and I turned it into like I've been saying $60 million in that part. Right.
Three hotels,
2 restaurants,
2 Class A office buildings, 3 actually.
Right.
And then 2 restaurants.
Right. So that's worth a lot of money. So I took a $14 million investment and made 5 times what we used to get tax-wise.
And they've done really interesting things with that money in TIF districts, like build a new fire station, like do some other stuff,
So now we have the same exact situation where the family that runs the fireworks stand is a great family. We like them. They're nice. They've been doing it for 20 years while I've been mayor. They're nice people. But I am in a situation where the highest and best use of that 15 acres is not a fireworks stand, is not a once-a-year fireworks, once-a-year haunted house. The highest and best use of that property is to knock down the haunted house and to develop it and to make it like it is down the street, office buildings, hotels, and restaurants. We can make that $600,000 haunted house worth, and what did I say last night? $30
I
million?
think you said 30 or 40 million, yeah.
I'm confident we could do that. So we're going to spend, let's call it $1 million up front, and then at 5, 6, 7 years from now, that thing will be worth far more than we paid for it.
And by the way, generating a lot more in taxes for the city of Hammond to help economic development elsewhere in the city.
Jobs.
Jobs, right, exactly.
Jobs in construction, jobs permanent once it's
Tourism
done.
to the city because people will stay there, visit the rest of the city.
Gives our TIF district breathing room.
Absolutely.
Like you were saying, we built a firehouse with the last development. We could
Right.
do other things with this. We could open new businesses.
We
and
can generate money to help other economic development projects.
Right. So obviously this is somewhat, anytime you're taking people's property, and this is the word, one of the councilwomen said this last night. She said, well, you're taking their property and blah, 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 blah. And I said, I realize that's the typical nomenclature. When you're using eminent domain, people say you're taking the property. But I want to make this clear.
I mean, it's a legal term.
We are buying
taking.
this property. We're buying it. We're going to pay for it. It's not like we're taking it and they're not getting any, the owners aren't getting anything back. It's a legal taking, but we're going to pay money. We're going to pay $1 million at least, probably more, maybe more. I don't know where that gets worked out. It's not for sale though. So yes, we are taking it, but they're going to get money. When I say they, the owners of the property.
And through a court case and through the regular legal process.
Which has already started.
Yes, and so it's moving along. And yesterday the resolution passed 7-2 in favor of continuing that and ratifying what the Redevelopment Commission's doing. And there's a wrinkle here though, right?
Right. The wrinkle is this. The people that run the property for the last
34 years
don't own the property.
They're tenants.
They're renters. So when we give the $1 million plus whatever, the $1 million to the Myers family,
$1 million, whatever it is.
Right. When we give that to the Myers family, there's no obligation that the Myers family give the Haluskas who've been running it a penny.
Right.
And that's not our problem, though. I mean, I hate to say it, and I don't want to sound brutal, but that's not our problem. I assumed, being honest, that there was some type of agreement between the Haluskas and the Meyer family where if we're giving money for that building, I personally feel that the Myers family owes the Haluska family a lot. But that's not my problem.
The Meyer family may not feel that way. And by the way, like some of the things as a lawyer, you see a lot of times in commercial leases, and anybody who practices in that area will know this, is that there's an eminent domain clause. And basically says like, hey, if the government decides to take this property by eminent domain, your lease is canceled and you're out.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's in theirs. I don't know what the situation is. And by the way, something else that came up yesterday that I didn't know is Mr. Haluska said that he, as the tenant, pays all the taxes, which is, again, I mean, I'm sure that's in some leases, but not usual. Usually it's like built in.
I pay the taxes
on your buildings, right? Sure, okay.
I pay the power for them, the NIPSCO.
There you go, right? And he pays all the utilities, and he pays for all repairs, which also is kind of weird because in a lot of leases, the landlord takes care of, like, if your roof goes bad, if your air conditioning goes bad.
Take a step back. John, Lindsay, this building looks like shit. The haunted house is a piece of crap.
Probably
building.
because
it's
the
an
guy
old building.
who's leasing it is responsible for all repairs.
Yeah,
right?
Is that why?
It's expensive. It's an old house.
So, like, he pays the taxes.
I don't own the property.
He doesn't own the property. The building looks like shit.
I do the repairs.
So the Myers family is not fixing the building because it looks like shit, but their lease says that that's the responsibility of Haluska. Haluska isn't fixing the building that looks like shit because he doesn't own the building. The Myers family does. But the bottom line is the building looks like shit. Nobody's repairing it, and I understand why the Haluska family doesn't want to repair it, because if they don't spend $50,000 repairing the building so it looks nicer, they get to keep that $50,000.
Right. It's not like they own it and they're putting it into a building they own.
It's wasted money if they put it into the building. So Hammond residents get the lovely chore of watching a fucking building fall apart, and it's the most high-profile location in our city, and all the family's asking for is the rest of this term. We just want you guys not to touch it for the rest of this term. That's what the renters are saying to us, which is insane.
That came up last night at the council meeting.
Right.
Some of the council members
they were trying to pin me down. Are you going to give them another 4th of July? I said yes. Are you going to give them another Halloween? I said, I don't know. And they said, well, why can't you say yes? I said, because I don't know. And they said, well, we want you to say yes. And I said, I don't know. And I'm not going to say yes because I'm not going to get sued by saying yes in a council meeting.
Well, I think what you were trying to do was, because you know this legally, Tom, and that is that the Redevelopment Commission would be the landlord, not you. And so I think you were making sure. You were kind of pointed about saying it when you said it, but legally that's the reason, is the Redevelopment Commission decides, not you.
Okay.
Yeah.
It also just takes time. Like, how do you know how fast or slow this is going to move along? You know,
okay, Kev. I mean, sure. That's how it works in city government.
No.
The boards make all these decisions, and I have
saying,
nothing to do with it, right? I just sit back and just react to what the boards are doing.
Of course, the board is
the mayor
listen
sets
to
a
what
tone in
the
city. You know that.
What I'm saying is that when you were saying that to the councilman, you knew that ultimately it's not for you to say it in that moment,
right? But but I think any mayor in any city is the current,
without a doubt.
The current.
Oh, for sure.
Like, there's little swirls that take place, and there's stuff that happens, but the general current is being driven by the mayor.
And the boards hear what the mayor's policy is and saying. Right.
Like, I don't want to wait. I mean, no offense. I'd rather be demolishing that building and building something way better on Halloween of 2024. I would rather be doing that in 2024. I don't think the highest and best use of that property is having 250 people show up to a stupid haunted house. Personally, maybe there's council people that feel different. Okay?
Yeah, and I wasn't trying to imply that you didn't have you don't have the power to influence the commission. All I was saying is that at that moment you weren't going to say I'm committing to this right now. Yeah.
Right. I just see that kind of thing because Kevin, you and I have been sued over council statements.
Sure.
Where a council person, right? There was a council person that said
Steve
something,
Sursick.
right? As soon as we walked into city government, there was $1 million lawsuit based on something a council person said in a council meeting.
You will never have.
Right. We settled it as soon as we came in because we were dead meat.
Yep.
And I just saw another opportunity to get sued for $1 million last night flashing before my eyes. And I'm like, I am not saying that.
Yeah.
No way in hell am I saying that.
That's an experienced mayor.
That's right.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's an interesting little situation we thought you guys may enjoy. Government geeks enjoy it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole lease situation sucks. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
For that family.
Without a
It
doubt.
is. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, you guys are
Progress.
I've seen you guys do incredible things, and I'm sure there's a way where everyone's, hopefully getting out of this.
Well, I think the mayor basically said last night you're going to get through 4th
Yeah.
of July because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
even said, and I get it, right? I mean, you feel for their business in the
Yeah.
sense that, and I'm not a big fireworks fan either, by the way, but like they're like, hey, we already made our orders
Right.
for the 4th of July,
Right.
and
Yeah.
Of course.
the mayor's like, look, you're going to get 4th of July
For sure.
So let's
For
make
sure.
sure that we
They're going to get 4th of
understand
July.
that.
And it's going to be a good year for them, I hope.
Yeah.
But like, I wouldn't start building a new wing for the haunted house. Okay? Right?
Especially
We're
since
going to
they-
like upgrade the whole upstairs and make it a whole new experience. I wouldn't
Renovations
do
begin.
that. Right? I would hold off
buy
on
new
the haunted house
chainsaws
renovations.
and
Right?
new masks.
Right?
God.
Hold off on the haunted house renovations. We'll get to that when we get to it. So
That's
anyway,
good. Very
we'll
interesting.
keep you
You're
up
right.
to date.
Government geeks like this.
I think government geeks do like it. It's an interesting case, and it's in the newspaper, and there's reporters showing up to our meetings. That's how you could usually tell that
Yeah,
government geeks are paying attention. I am a government geek, so
We
don't
all
be
are.
offended. We're gonna come back and talk a little bit of Republican presidential nomination. How about that, Lynn?
Some funny videos too that John and I captured.
Yeah.
I'm so already over this whole election season.
You only got another year, so
Oh,
This time next year we'll have a new. Actually, what? Yes.
Yeah.
January 20th, right?
Yeah.
So
Might have a new president.
MCR partners.
Might.
Are you seeking expertise in economic development, finance, and planning? Look no further than MCR Partners, your go-to professionals for comprehensive solutions. Their dedicated team is ready to assess your opportunities and ensure the successful completion of your projects. Discover the difference MCR Partners can make in navigating the intricacies of economic development. Stay informed and connected by visiting our website at mcrpartnersllc.com for personalized assistance. Reach out to Matt Reardon at 219-741-9511.
Byway Brewing is a family-friendly microbrewery welcoming you to their spacious tap room and outdoor patio. Enjoy award-winning craft beer, a chef-driven menu, and craft draft cocktails. Their unique brewing equipment and production facility provide a perfect backdrop for private events, whether it's a bridal shower, reunion, or corporate party. With their new food truck, they can cater to your corporate and private events off-site. Customer service is their top priority at Byway Brewing, just off 8094 at the Kennedy Avenue South exit. Discover more at bywaybrewing.beer.
Ku Klux Law. Are you currently navigating complex legal challenges and unsure of where to turn for guidance? Your search ends here with Ku Klux Law, your trusted partner for legal solutions in Indiana and Illinois. Whether you're seeking expert representation for real estate transactions, need assistance in forming your business, or have experienced a personal injury at work or in a car crash, Ku Klux Law is here for you. No matter the nature of your legal issue, our team is ready to help. Call us today at 219-671-6347. That's 219-671-6347 to schedule your free consultation. Hablamos español.
Rogers Roofing. When you demand nothing but the best for your home and family, trust the industry leader, Rogers Roofing. For over 54 years, they've been transforming homes in Northwest Indiana and Chicago. Their commitment to quality shines through in their roofing, their siding, gutters, and windows, all backed by the most comprehensive warranties in the business. Visit their website at rogersroofing.com or call 219-933-9145 to schedule your free consultation. That's rogersroofing.com. 219-933-9145. At Rogers Roofing, we expect nothing less than excellence every time.
I was just checking out chat and really some really good comments about our last segment. There you go.
Yeah?
Yeah, just really good. Like, just can't wait to see the change in the 4th District. How exciting.
That's nice.
You
I
know, it's
appreciate
like economic development's great for any city. Curious to what restaurant you'd put there. This is great for Hammond. I've been through the same situation in Chicago when the city took one of my buildings.
Mm-hmm. It stinks. I
yeah.
mean, I don't love doing this, but we are landlocked, and it's literally the term highest and best use is something that's going through my mind a lot. It's like the haunted house is fine. The highest and best use of that property is not the haunted house and the 4th of July fireworks. We could do much better.
Love that you talk about city issues in depth here. We don't get all this information at the council meeting. That's great.
Agree.
Yeah.
But like that's what this show is. It's like going out to dinner with the mayor and getting a little bit tipsy and cussing a lot. So, right?
Agree. You said that in the beginning. We want
right.
this to be like we're all sitting around a table BSing.
I think
that's
mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
People
Thank
are
you.
still coming to grips with what we do here.
Congratulations.
Oh, nothing. I just realized that I'm an accessory to you guys just sitting around having boys talk.
Let me ask you
we
a
like having
question,
you here
Lindsay.
at our table, though.
Lindsay, when you're away,
Thanks.
because like the thing is, Lindsay, the people you hang out with aren't typical government people, right? They're medical people, and does your medical life,
Star Wars people,
actors, actresses,
Teachers.
but do you like run into Lockpod fans randomly? Because I know I do, obviously.
Oh, well, I know when Brewfest was open, I did.
Yeah.
Very often we have a lot of fans who listen to the podcast who used to go to Brewfest when they were open.
Yeah.
And
you made-
so every
and you were
time I
like-
went there, people would be like, "Oh my gosh, it's so great to meet you," and I'm like,
Wow.
"Yeah, okay, this
Notorious
is weird."
LMP.
But now that
She's got her own
Brewfest is
thing.
closed and
See,
I
like,
don't go
she's
to
got
bars
fandom.
anymore,
You need to get out in life.
get out of the
real
house.
life. Get out
I
of
don't.
life.
I work nights. Like
I know. You're either
where
working,
am I going?
going to school, or hanging with cats. I mean, let's face it.
Hell
Like,
yeah, that sounds. You put it in such a beautiful
That
way.
is-
That sounds amazing.
Lynn's like, that's beautiful.
like, thanks, Dad. I love you too.
Saving lives, getting knowledge, or hanging out with
And
my
hanging
cats.
with cats.
And my husband, he's there too.
And your husband.
Yes.
Your husband and cats. And she's allergic to cats, too. So
I'm
like,
allergic
that's
to
how much she
dogs,
loves
too,
them.
That shows
and
you
I
how
grew
much
up with
she-
those.
Yeah,
so-
that's right. Jay Vez,
Hey.
how often do you run into Lockpod fans?
Every now and then. Yeah.
I get them like randomly, like when I'm not expecting it. That's a cool thing. Is like I said, when I was in Home Depot and Naomi came up to me, I was like, it's cool. That is cool when that happens.
It's fun. It
Makes
just makes us realize there are people out there actually tuning in.
And when you're on
Don't
the
forget
road,
to subscribe.
when you're on the road
rate.
and get it, that's what I love too. Or I'm in the airport and somebody's like, I listen to every.
I think the
episode.
Senate campaign is really when I realized I was like, holy cow, we're in the middle. We're like
Yeah.
on the Ohio River, and
Yeah.
people are coming up to me like,
Yeah.
hey, we listen all the time. You know.
And by the way, speaking of people that listen from across the state, I want to say to our friends in Fort Wayne that we're expressing our condolence to Tom Henry, the mayor of Fort Wayne, for the loss of his wife Cindy, who was a sweetie.
And a great Democrat and always very
Sweet
active.
heart. She was a lot of people. She was
a
the
fan of yours.
force behind Mayor Henry, and Mayor Henry's an incredible person. He's been a Democratic mayor of Fort Wayne, which is not exactly a Republican part of our state. And
Democratic part.
he's a 5-termer, I believe. I think he's 1 term behind me.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's 4 or 5
4
terms.
for sure.
Yeah, which is incredible. In Fort Wayne, that's an accomplishment. 6 terms in Hammond is great. 4 terms in Fort Wayne, that is incredible. That's a city of 250,000 people, mostly Republicans, and he still does it. So and the force behind him is his wife, no doubt about it. And I mean, everybody says that, but in this case, Cindy, she was a member of the DNC. She was an incredible lady, and we're going to miss her. And she was sick for a while and finally succumbed last week. So I'm sorry, Cindy. We're going to miss you. And Mayor Henry, I know he listens to the show. We're thinking about you.
For sure.
There you go.
Ready for some updates on the
Yes.
Republican primary?
I always get excited when I see lots of links because that
Yeah.
means you guys got some. Because we're not just putting up some BS. If they're a Lockpod link, it's got to be truly reprehensible.
It's pretty. It's pretty good. We found.
If
some good
you
ones.
make a link on Lockpod with something you said, you fucked up. Let's be honest, right?
Well, at least it just maybe proves the point we're trying to make.
I don't
at
think
the
we've
very
ever
least.
put like a inspirational quotes on Lockpod. We're
Maybe
not
not
like
inspirational, but we put like some good stuff up there too. Not just all. I mean, the Lauren Boebert.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah,
That's one of my
that's
favorite
awesome.
video clips.
I know, but it wasn't inspirational.
No, it was not. Well, I don't know. Maybe to some concert theater goers, it was like, why didn't I ever try that?
I am inspired to go see Beetlejuice. I don't know what it is. I'm
and
going to
take
get
my
Marissa.
new boyfriend and make out, and do other things.
No, I'm
in
going to
it.
take Marissa, but I'm just going to randomly get Beetlejuice tickets.
And you're going to say, you know what you got to do when you're at Beetlejuice, right?
I brought my vape, baby.
No.
You know what I'm
For a
saying?
good time.
No. Let's
It's
not.
more than vaping. All right. So anyway, we just wanted to update because we've kind of been trying to, check the race on and rank the race and, give our predictions on the race and the GOP nomination. It just kind of is starting to feel like, we're on a track for a rematch for sure. Not that we didn't kind of
Rematch
already know it,
between two
Trump and-
octogenarians?
Yeah, between two old dudes.
Good God, I can't wait for this race.
Woo! And one of the things that happened over the week that I was kind of shocked about, I texted our Lockpod text chain over the weekend when I saw a blast come out that DeSantis was getting out of the race. And we talked about Like, why wouldn't DeSantis stick it out and like see what happens to Trump and stick around, even like if you're just rolling with.
It is weird when people drop out right before Election Day. It's weird
Yeah.
because when Pete dropped out when he was running for president, Pete Buttigieg,
South Carolina. No,
he
it was
dropped out
before-
right before Super Tuesday.
Right before
like
Super
it's like,
Tuesday.
why don't you just? What happens if something crazy happens?
Mhm.
You know, like you don't want to see the results. It's weird because if I remember correctly, Pete dropped out 2 days before Super Tuesday.
I think he dropped out, but he wanted to throw his support behind
He
Biden
did.
at
He
the
did.
time
He
to
did.
help
That
him.
was a big deal. He flew over at the time because him and Biden weren't on the
right,
same
and
page.
he got on stage with him.
He did. That was a big deal.
Yep.
So okay.
I think that was the reason because
Okay.
it was still a race.
And by
he
the way,
wanted
it
to make
worked out
sure.
well for Pete.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, he's Secretary of
Doing
Transportation.
pretty good.
Doing pretty good.
Yes.
So I'm not going to criticize his thought process because it worked out well.
We're proud of South
So
Bend Mayor
what? So
Pete
why
Buttigieg.
is Biden DeSantis dropping out right now?
I don't, John. I'm confused on why he did. It wasn't like he like, oh my gosh, my support's going to go to Trump in New Hampshire, like as if he needed it. He was running at like 8 points.
I don't know. I think, to Kevin, to your point, the reason he got in was a roll of the dice.
Yeah.
Is Trump going to be in jail by the
Right.
time they say, why not get in?
Okay.
And why not stay in?
That
right?
makes sense.
And why not stay in? So I don't know. Maybe
So-
he just didn't see it happen.
So he doesn't think Trump's going to jail, is what you're saying?
I don't know what he thinks. I don't know why he's getting out. Maybe his feet hurt him. Let's
It is hard to wear high heels. I
Yeah.
mean, he's not conditioned like women are.
So, John, I just wanted to put 2 little clips in. Here's Governor Ron DeSantis when he was getting in the race a while ago, just ripping on why he's getting in and why Trump's bad.
Okay.
He cares about. You can be the most worthless Republican in America, but if you kiss the ring, he'll say you're wonderful. You can be the strongest, most dynamic, successful Republican and conservative in America, but if you don't kiss that ring, then he'll try to trash you. You know what? You deserve a nominee that's going to put you first, not himself first.
All right. So there's
That was good stuff. That was
Sure.
good
Yeah,
stuff.
there you
I
go.
honestly, I think
I agree with his analysis
I
there.
think that's real strong.
Okay.
That
so
was
now-
that was before he started campaigning for
Now
president.
look at him.
But
First
that was
of all-
that was before, right?
Yeah.
The
that was before.
picture.
That was like he announced his campaign.
Okay,
He's
all
on the
right.
trail.
So now he's beaten down.
This is sad Ron DeSanctimonious, one of the nicknames I do like from that Trump gave him, and Meatball. And so here is Ron giving his "I'm out of the race" speech.
Nobody worked harder, and we left it all out on the field. Now, following our second place finish in Iowa, we've prayed and deliberated on the way forward. If there was anything I could do to produce a favorable outcome, more campaign stops, more interviews, I would do it. But I can't ask our supporters to volunteer their time and donate their resources if we don't have a clear path to victory. Accordingly, I am today suspending my campaign. I'm proud to have delivered on 100% of my promises, and I will not stop now. It's clear to me that a majority of Republican primary voters want to give Donald Trump another chance. They watch his presidency get stymied by relentless resistance, and they see Democrats using lawfare this day to attack him. Well, I've had disagreements with Donald Trump, such as on the coronavirus pandemic and his elevation of Anthony Fauci. Trump is superior to the current incumbent, Joe Biden. That is clear. I signed a pledge to support the Republican nominee, and I will honor that pledge. He has my endorsement because we can't go back to the old...
he endorsed Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Holy
went
shit.
from bashing him to, you have my endorsement.
So
Yeah.
he's straight up trying to be the
Oh
VP.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what he's doing.
Good clips, Kevin.
Yeah,
Good
so-
contrasting
Those are good clips. By
Yeah.
the way, it's very sad when he's surrounded by nobody in the second one. First one, he's surrounded by a huge.
Yeah, big crowd.
And then the second, the only thing around him is a bunch of flags, and they
Yeah,
look.
he was
Even
trying
the
to-
flags look sad.
They do look sad. Ron looks sad. The governor looks sad.
Sad
the
flag.
flags look sad.
They're all wrinkly and
He was
droopy.
trying to be very, I guess, like vice presidential, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's straight up
And endorsed
trying to be
him,
VP,
so-
huh? Because why would he endorse Trump? He's been beating Trump up the whole campaign. Now he's kissing his ass.
He's supposed to be the alternative to Trump, and he's
And
supposed to be like the
timing.
real Republican. Not real Republican. He's supposed to be like the, hey, let's leave all this mess aside. It's a
Right.
it's a mess with Trump. I'm
Right.
kind of in the same mold,
Right.
but even better,
right.
And take
I'm
me.
the fresh,
Yeah.
young alternative.
And by the way, I think, I mean, as much as I disagree with Ron DeSantis, I mean, I think he would have been tough to beat. You know, he'd had a lot of support if he was the nominee for the Republican Party.
I think the toughest candidate running in the Republican Party to beat outside of Trump is no doubt is Nikki Haley. No
I'm with
doubt.
you.
No
I'm
doubt.
with you.
I think she beats Biden straight up.
Oh, easily.
I think she kicks his ass actually.
But I'm with
I
you.
think we beat Trump, man. I think the Republicans. You know what's funny about this? The Republicans think the Democrats are so dumb by putting up Biden, and I sort of agree. And the Democrats think the Republicans are so dumb by putting up Donald Trump.
And I sort of agree.
Like, I honestly think Nikki Haley's presidential caliber.
Without a doubt.
Right. And I think she'd be
and you kind of know when somebody is getting under Trump's skin, or at least he's at least a little bit worried, because he'll go after them personally, right?
Yeah.
We all know that, right? So what he did, and this is the part, even though I like Meatball and I like DeSanctimonious, those are good nicknames by Trump. I really have an issue when he takes on somebody's ethnicity and their heritage.
Yeah.
And he really went after, I thought, Nikki Haley unfairly, and he was butchering her Indian first name. Her parents were both born in India, I believe, or at least one of them was. And he's trying to like push this like birther conspiracy, like maybe you're not qualified to be president.
Right.
Is he?
Yeah, I mean, this is the second one, John. This isn't the first one. So like what he did is he called her Nimbra, which is a total butchering of her name. And when Haley was asked about it, he just said that it's obvious he feels threatened and insecure, which I tend to agree with that. So, this kind of goes back to when Trump took on Obama and say he wasn't an American citizen, which was total bullshit. But he got some traction with it. And I think that's what he's trying to do here in the middle of a race where she's at least in striking distance, although we'll get into that in a second. This was a great, funny clip of Trump getting interviewed, and I was just like,
ask him about this nickname.
Yeah, holy shit. I was just like, oh my God, he's something.
It just felt good to me. And with her, it's just something that came. It's a little bit of a takeoff on her name, her name, wherever she may come from. But it's just
What do you mean by that? What do you mean?
It's a little bit of a takeoff. I look at her name. I look at a lot of people. I do a lot of names for people, like Pocahontas. She said, my mother said I look like an Indian, so I started calling her Pocahontas. Some people...
It's like, what?
Such an
But keep
asshole.
going, John. The end of this is good, too. Yeah.
I'm very good at that, but it just felt...
I'm very good at that.
He's such an asshole.
He is such a weirdo. He's such a prick. I'm like, God.
I hate him.
And it just boils my blood that because I think, again, what this does, it encourages others to be like, oh, well, was the president. I can just be an asshole to people too.
And we see it all the time.
Oh, absolutely. He's been a jerk in court. It increases when you undermine the rule of law in this country. It's basically you might as well.
We have no law.
Then you have no law. I mean, that's what keeps a civilized society, I think, in order is the rule of law. Otherwise, you're just in some,
Back to
weird,
the birther thing. I saw in the show notes, I think you guys quoted like a CNN article, like Trump's been pushing this birther thing with Haley. So I was like Googling Nikki Haley, birther, Trump, looked at like 7 articles. I can't find anywhere where Trump talking about this birther thing.
Well, like even John in that interview where he said
another
like
lie from the mainstream
No, I don't
media?
think so. I think like even in this interview where he said wherever she's from.
But what is that? Well, that's not like a. He's not.
What do you think
saying
he's saying
she's-
that for, John?
I think that's like a
maybe she's from Arkansas.
Yeah, right.
Right. I mean,
or
I think he's
maybe
like,
she wasn't born in America.
Bingo.
Right.
He's like trying to like very
that's in a
quiet
constitution.
underlying
wherever
way.
she's from, like what her ethnicity is. Maybe
Yeah,
I didn't know.
like maybe she was born in India, and if she was born in India, can she run for president? I think that's where he's
not
going.
how I took it.
Okay,
And
I can see where Kevin's going with
At
this.
the very least, I think you could say that he's saying she's not white American.
True
and
story.
so
That's
I think
red
that
meat in
yeah,
itself.
and that's
She's
red
not.
meat for
She
his
talks
base.
about that all the time.
I know, but I'm just saying that's red meat for his base.
Right, she's not one of us.
And so he's like reminding them of that. Now, I guess
She's
sure, as a
not-
political tactic, go for it.
Well, and that's why the interviewer asked him to clarify.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
just skipped over it because he doesn't want to be outright about it.
Correct.
He
It's
just
a,
kind of sidestepped.
like
that.
I say a lot of names, like Pocahontas.
it's just dog whistling on and
Here's
on and
another
on.
example of me being a little racist.
I'm really good at this.
Racism
I'm really
stuff.
good at this racism
Pocahontas.
thing.
I don't know. I
Rokita.
guess I just don't take it as seriously as you
Damn,
guys.
are we going back to Jay Vez supporting Trump again?
Well, I mean,
100%.
yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
no.
100%.
what do you think, honey?
And
I
for
mean,
a couple of years, he was like, "Yeah, this
No.
guy's a
Well, he's-
dumbass."
No.
But, like,
I
honestly,
have my problems with Trump.
if we put up
But-
a better, I mean, never mind. I'm not going to get into
And
it.
here's his-
I'm one of those Democrats that's frustrated.
By the way, here, John, if you could throw up the Truth Social post just real quick.
Yeah.
And this was what the next day he went after Sununu, who's endorsed. Sununu is the governor of New Hampshire, endorsed Nikki Haley, and he just goes after both of them. Governor Chris Sununu, the now failing governor of New Hampshire, and as an aside, he's got like a 76% approval rating in New Hampshire. While I'm beating his endorsed candidate Nimbra by the big numbers and desanctimonious by even bigger numbers should spend some more time keeping Democrats from voting in the Republican primary. How ridiculous is that? So
he keeps calling her Nimbra in it too.
Yeah,
right?
she's weak on China, Russia, borders, crime, but never saw a war she didn't like.
Though.
I don't get
where
it
did
either.
That come? That, like, it doesn't
That was
sound
her-
like Nikki Haley.
Because her first name is Nimarata.
Nimarata.
Nikki Haley.
So at least
why
call her by her
Nimbra?
real name. He's
Yeah.
like made up a name based off of that.
Right, he's like taking her name.
Call her
and
like real name anyway.
Correct.
For freaking damn sake.
Correct.
It's like calling me Tim. Like, just call me Tom if you're gonna make fun of my name, Timothy. You know, like ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't
It's
get the
stupid.
Nimbra thing either. How about just like Never Nikki or something? You know, like
Whatever,
something
sure.
Right?
fun like
Or
that.
like-
Or Bird Brain. It must have not
Bird Brain, yeah, I
Bird Brain
love
was,
Bird Brain,
was
yeah.
what he used for a long time.
I like those two better than Nimbra. I just don't get Nimbra.
I
I also
her,
don't think
her
it's a big
name
deal.
is Nimarata. I would have just called her Rada.
That's
Yeah,
actually
well,
kind of a cool name,
Why don't you-
Nimarata.
Yeah, I think it is too.
So.
So.
Like you
That's
said,
it. I was gonna say-
he goes after personal attacks against the people he's most afraid of. He's obviously most afraid of Nikki Haley, and I think she's a great candidate. Actually,
Dude, she's gonna get smoked.
Well,
no doubt about
tonight.
it, John. No doubt about it, John.
52-34 is the
But like that's what
latest.
happens is we're a bunch of group thinking, freaking. Oh, Trump's gonna win. They're just gonna go and do what the media tells them to do, like a bunch of fucking robots, man. God bless America.
That's where we're at right
There
now
you
in
go,
America.
right? That's the way
That's where we're at in America.
like a bunch of robots.
So good luck today in New Hampshire, the Granite State, where independents can vote in the Republican primary just like in Indiana.
People can vote like that. Like what?
Like they're making a big deal about that. Like you can vote in the Republican primary, and I can go vote in the Republican primary if I want.
Like
to.
if you're a Republican,
John can vote in the Democratic.
If
primary.
you're a Republican living where we
He
live,
has done it before.
sure.
sometimes the best thing you could do as a Republican is vote in the Democratic primary where we live. But like if you do that, it'll ruin your Democratic or your Republican credentials, and vice versa.
If
for Democrats.
you care about that, I mean,
But
a lot
yeah,
of people
right.
are
A lot
involved
of
in
people don't give a
government or
crap about that. I
politics,
agree with you.
so I don't think it's as big of a deal as like Trump's making it out to, because in many states you don't have to be like a quote unquote registered party goer to
Right.
vote in the primary.
Right.
In the Iowa caucuses you do, but that's a caucus.
Right.
Different. So
Hey guys,
Yeah,
can I go home?
yes.
we're leaving.
Yeah, another long show.
Wow.
Hour 15.
Stuff, yeah.
So
Sorry about
thanks for
I
listening,
gotta go to
everybody.
work.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate you coming to Lock Pod. Good to see you, Linz. Thanks for coming in. Jay Vez and Kevin Smith. We appreciate you all. Come back on Friday with another high quality show. So don't forget to turn in. You know, follow us on Spotify. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook Live. Follow us so that you're notified when we go live. Take care, everybody. Lock Pod is out. See you Friday.